Welcome to Season 12 of the Social Work Rants Podcast, providing an inside look of the social work mental health profession, social work being political, the struggles of social work entrepreneurship, the intersectionality of mental health and finances as it relates to social work and society as a whole. Let's get it. Hope you enjoy. Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of the Social Work Rants Podcast. I'm your host, Bas Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. I appreciate all the love and support. Gracias a todos por su apoyo. Continue to follow the podcast on Instagram at the Social Work Rants Podcast. That is all one word. To anybody that's living from Texas all the way through like northern Florida to Atlanta, all the way up the East Coast, Tennessee, all those states that's bracing for snow or ice storm this weekend, just stay safe. I did put it on my website, Bas Moreno consulting.net, tips to stay safe this weekend, so definitely check that out. And yes, stay safe out there. It's finally getting some snow, some much needed, some wanted snow, at least from my personal perspective. So and this episode ends, shout out to my son Elijah. His birthday is coming up. He's going to be 17, so happy birthday to him. Now, this week's episode, recently, the social workers are literally under attack. We've had two mental health professionals who have been stabbed and passed away within like the last month and a half. Back on December the 4th, a social worker by the name of Alberto Rango, a 51-year-old social worker working at Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital, was stabbed multiple times in the neck and shoulder by a patient in a HIV ward in the hospital. The ward did not have any metal detectors. Based on reports, staff members have been complaining about safety in the ward in the hospital for a long time, and nothing was done about that. And unfortunately, something transpired, and Mr. Rangel lost his life. So rest in peace to Mr. Rangel. Tragically lost his life. And most recently, last week, as of this recording, January 19th, a licensed mental health work counselor in Orlando, Florida, by the name of Rebecca White, was a 44-year-old woman, was a mental health counselor, was stabbed by a former patient of hers. This happened around 9 o'clock at night. No reason for a former client to be at the office to try to see her. She did the right thing based on reports and set boundaries and refused to see the individual. And unfortunately, he stabbed her multiple times and stabbed her last client that she was seeing. The client survived. Unfortunately, she did not. So rest in peace to Rebecca White. And these things should not happen. I have no idea how that happened, or safety protocols or lack thereof that took place, but these things should not happen. No, we're dealing with failed systems that are not there to protect us. Hence, when I went to an event in New York not that long ago, maybe a couple months ago, and there was a lot of um, what's the right word? Um, I guess motivation, a lot of push for social work to be unionized. Um, so it kind of took me by surprise because I really haven't seen a lot of stuff online about social workers wanting to be unionized. So to be in an in-person event and hearing from other social workers how social work should be unionized, found that very interesting. Um, in a good way, not be like not hating or anything, but just I really never really put much thought into that. That being said, I could think of my own experiences. I've been uh, almost got attacked one time by a client. Um, I know agency I worked very briefly. I've been threatened by a client. A client, and he said this. The client said this in front of my supervisor. He said the client wanted to shoot me during a conference that we had in front of the supervisor. And no, my supervisor didn't do anything. I advocated for myself and said I did not want that particular client on my caseload anymore, fearing from for my own safety. Um, Eventually, the client was no longer on my caseload, but I did get some pushback and was not supported by my supervisor from that instance. See, another time, I've had two different clients that were off their medications, having psychotic episodes, and they threatened to, like, if you come here to try to see me again, I'm definitely, I'm gonna kick your ass. So yeah, I've had a few instances of threats by clients, and I do my best to definitely set boundaries. I'm at a stage in my career where like I'm not trying to take a lot of BS from staff, coworkers, clients, the systems in play. Um, does not. All my adult life has been, social services, social work. So, like, I'm kind of, you know, done with the shits for the lack of a better word. And sometimes you still got to play with the system, play within the system, and it sucks and it's annoying, it's frustrating, especially relying on we still got to get paid, we still got bills to pay, we got family to feed. So um, sometimes at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, but it's very frustrating, especially dealing with folks that sometimes they don't know what the hell they doing. Um, so we had these two mental health professionals pass away, and what can we do about it? Definitely, if you work at a social service agency, nonprofit, whatever, definitely gotta advocate for yourself. Um, and say like, hey, like, file a report, whatever the protocol is. If you are attacked, sometimes you might have to get police involved if you're out in the community. Definitely let immediate supervisor know what happened. File a report. Obviously, if you're seriously hurt, there might be some workers' compensation that might play a part. Uh, for private practitioners, private practice, just uh, Miss White worked out of private practice and seeing a client, and then you had a client try to see her at night. So she tried to call the police, and still, like, she ended up losing her life. So definitely, if you got to get the police involved or there's security in the building, you get security in the building involved. Sometimes, we're in 2026, and people uh, basically go to work just to collect a check and basically do half-ass work. So if there's security guards in your building, find out what the protocol is in terms of you know who's coming in and out the building. Uh, Definitely, like if you got to tighten up safety protocols within your offices, do that. And have a staff meeting, address any sort of issues in terms of hostile clients. Obviously, there's a lot of states that's open carry states, so we're about uh, mass shootings in offices. Obviously, for my school social workers, that always got to think in the back of their mind, think about a mass shooting in their school, unfortunately, and kids nowadays do all these drills of being under the desk during a mass shooting and all these things that they unfortunately have to practice because there's been so many mass shootings, whether it be whether they make the news or not. It seems like every other day has been a mass shooting. So um, definitely see protocols to that. We saw the what happened to Evaldi. The police officers waited seemed like forever to try to go in and apprehend the suspect. Um, so it's a lot of things in terms of for your safety. Um, if you got to see people, telehealth virtually for your own safety, do that. If you're out going into the field, try to go in pairs if possible. I know that's hard with with staffing, people going on vacation, people taking PTO. And again, you systems of nonprofits, uh, social service agencies, and definitely if your supervisors don't hear you, you have a particular issue in terms of safety, take it up to the chain of command because at the end of the day, yes, we all need money, but at the end of the day, you can leave that job and try to get yourself another job or do a side hustle or something or get on your feet. And I know in 2026, with this job market, that's easier said than done. But you know, you only get one life, and you don't need anybody to be messing around with your personal safety. Your personal safety needs to come first and foremost before any sort of progress notes, treatment plans, anything like that. And again, that's what they teach us very early on in grad school, or no, that's or like case management trainings or any trainings that they do. Like you definitely got to set your boundaries, whatever that boundary is. So and let the clients know that set expectations of what your boundaries are, what you're not willing to tolerate, and again your safety comes first. So I know these two stories made the rounds. You know, Mr. Rangel's uh, murder was made headlines for a few days, and of course, with where everything's going on with our lovely president acting a fool. If you're not a police officer, there's no shade to police officers, but if you're not a police officer, um, you're only going to get like a footnote into a social worker. So that's how society is. Oh, a social worker passed away, and like 2 days later, let's move on. So unlike like police officers or firefighters, they'll do a whole week or whatever, be front page news and, and like do breaking news and show the funeral of the officer or the firefighter and all that. But social workers we get thrown by the wayside. Um, and that's the truth, a hard truth. Unfortunately for Miss White and her passing, is it's crazy. We're in crazy times, and um, that we're in, and these things should not take. It shouldn't happen. So um, I just wanted to address these unfortunate instances. For a lot of you MSW students who listen to the podcast, or newly graduated or newly into the field and still trying to figure out what you want to do in your career, or you're a seasoned social worker and you're, again, boundaries first and foremost, and we have to stay informed of what is happening, and continue to say their names, say Rebecca White, say Alberto Rangel. His death happened literally over a month ago, a month and a half ago, and he's, unfortunately, we work with clients that have long rap sheets, incarceration, drug histories, uh, crimes that they've committed, for sorts of different crimes, and we out there, we busting our behinds, we risking our own lives, and I always tell people we risk our lives every day. We risked our lives during the pandemic, seeing clients, and going on 6 years later, every day we out there. It doesn't matter what type of work we in. Like, there's always the division of, like, private practice versus case management in the community and things of that nature. At the end of the day, we out here, you know trying to survive ourselves, and trying to take care of ourselves, take care of our families. We'll try to take care of clients, and, and taking care of our communities as an end result. So we gotta look out for ourselves. We gotta look out for each other within the profession. Those that do the good work, and the social workers that are the Trumpers. Well, I'm gonna get to you during Social Work Month. Uh, uh, that last state, the last statement doesn't apply to you. You guys could be doing some good work too, but you guys are harming the profession. So in that case, you're not really doing the good work all the way through. Uh, but your lives need to be protected as well. We could agree to disagree politically, and keep it pushing, but no social worker, no mental health professional, nobody that's in the field of social services should be losing their lives, uh, by a client under any circumstances. And I'm gonna leave that there. Peace, y'all.